heated up for the Knicks recently on the Porzingis front. The relationship between the young star player and Phil Jackson and co is not good.
You would think that Kristap Porzingis, the one thing they've gotten right in Phil Jackson's tenure, that they would hold on to dear life, but they haven't done that. None of this is surprising.
There's no one in this draft that I would trade Porzingis for.
This seems to be one of the more untradeable players. The kid is 21 years old. He is a spectacular, unique talent.
First Take Stephen A. Smith joins us now, a renowned Knicks fan, and I know things were pretty hot yesterday when this whole Porzingis thing happened. Is there a way to view this, Stephen A., where you just hear it as, okay, the Knicks are listening to offers, that teams are approaching them about Porzingis, and that's okay?
Well, you can say it's okay because you never know what you're going to hear. If somebody makes an incredible offer to you, an offer that you can't refuse, obviously no one you can imagine is subjected to being immune to something like that.
Right,
You have to recognize that possibility, so you listen. But from what I'm hearing, this is not about Phil wanting to let go of Porzingis. This is about Porzingis wanting Phil gone, and about his handlers, his people, certainly trying to apply pressure to some degree. Not necessarily Andy Miller, the agent, but Porzingis' brother, Giannis. He's the guy that primarily represents Porzingis, and Porzingis is not happy with Phil Jackson. It's not just because of the absence of moves or things of that nature. It's because you're looking at some of the decisions that Phil Jackson is making, the coaches that he elect to bring into play, the fact that he tries to do the coaching for them, forcing and implementing the triangle offense and things of the sort. Phil Jackson is the president of basketball operations, but he's not allocating responsibility to other people. He's trying to dictate what their responsibilities are, and it's all aligned with what he wants, as opposed to hiring folks to do the job that they do. Certainly, he's an 11-time champion as a coach, but if you're going to hire Jeff Hornacek as the coach, let the man coach the team instead of you trying to coach it from the stands. These are the kind of things that have been an irritant to players, particularly Porzingis, because he watched a good friend of his who's on the team, Carmelo Anthony, be the resident spokesperson for the New York Knicks. Phil Jackson left Carmelo Anthony hanging. Every day he walked into the locker room, he had to answer question after question after question about everything pertaining to the franchise, and Phil was nowhere to be found for months upon months at a time. These are the kind of things that have frustrated members of this franchise, and they think that a change is needed. And I believe it. That's the story that's circulating throughout NBA circles, and I absolutely believe it.
Okay, so if it is a power play, and Porzingis is trying to force Phil Jackson out, who has the power? Who is James Dolan listening to at this point?
Phil Jackson.
So there's no play there.
There's no play there, and it's not like Porzingis is having a power play. He doesn't want any power. He's 21 years of age, okay? What they're saying is they don't like what they're seeing from Phil, and somebody has to do something about it. And it doesn't help that James Dolan goes on the record on a Michael Kay show with ESPN New York months ago and says it doesn't matter what, this is Phil's team. It's going to be his team for 5 years. I promised him 5 years. That's what I'm going to give him. And we all know why James Dolan is doing that, because Phil Jackson's presence alone has you pointing the finger at Phil Jackson, not at James Dolan. So James Dolan is able to play his guitar and go on tour and run MSG and Cablevision and make money, gobs and gobs of money. That's what he wants to do, while the focus is placed somewhere other than him when it comes to basketball operations. And nobody gives him that level of cover better than Phil Jackson.
How does all this impact Carmelo Anthony?
Well, Carmelo Anthony is planning on being gone. Phil wants him gone. He no longer wants to be there as long as Phil is there. He is willing to waive his no-trade clause.
Okay.
Yes, he is. He is willing to waive his no-trade clause, but for the right deal. Clippers, Boston Celtics, Cleveland Cavaliers. He wants to be in a position to legitimately compete for an NBA crown. He doesn't have any fear of LeBron James. He doesn't mind going someplace else and actually competing with LeBron James. Carmelo Anthony is ultra confident in his own capabilities, but he also knows that he has to be in the right situation and have enough of a quality team around him to do the kind of things that he's capable of doing on a championship level. Remember, he's only played in one conference finals. He's never been to an NBA finals in his career. He wants to do that. He loves New York, wants to stay there, but he knows the die has been cast. Phil Jackson wants him gone, and Dolan is going to flow with whatever Phil wants.
There is so much going on.